It's 3 a.m. You're lying in bed. The house is silent. And then, out of nowhere, it happens. That conversation from 6 years ago starts playing in your head. Word for word. The exact tone of voice. The thing you should have said back but didn't. You didn't think about this all day. You were busy. You were fine. So why now? Why does your brain always wait until you're finally still, finally quiet, to make you relive everything you never said? There's a reason for this. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your own mind the same way again. Let's call her Maya. She's 27. Today was an ordinary Tuesday. She went to work, answered emails, grabbed coffee, laughed at a coworker's joke. By every outward measure, she was okay. Then she gets home. She showers. She turns off the lights. She lies down. And that's when it starts. Suddenly she's back in a meeting from 3 years ago, where her manager cut her off mid-sentence. She replays it in perfect detail. The exact words, the way her chest tightened, the sentence she wishes she'd said instead of staying silent. Then her brain jumps somewhere else entirely. A text message she sent to an ex that never got a reply. Did it sound needy? Should she have waited a day before sending it? Then further back. A birthday party when she was 11, when nobody sat next to her. None of this is happening right now. None of it can be changed. And yet her body reacts as if it's happening for the first time. Heart racing, stomach tight, jaw clenched. If this sounds familiar, you're not broken. You're not overthinking for no reason. Your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. The problem is, it's using a system that was designed for a very different kind of danger. Here's what's actually happening. During the day, your brain is busy. It's flooded with tasks, decisions, conversations, notifications. This constant input keeps your prefrontal cortex, the rational planning part of your brain, fully occupied. There's simply no bandwidth left for old, unresolved material to surface. But at night, when the input stops, something shifts. Your brain doesn't shut off, it shifts modes. Neuroscientists call this the default mode network, the system that activates when you're not focused on an external task. It's the same network responsible for daydreaming, self-reflection, and rumination. And rumination has one very specific target: unfinished business. Your brain has a filing system for memories, and it treats emotionally unresolved moments differently than resolved ones. A conversation where you said the wrong thing, a moment you felt embarrassed, a relationship that ended without closure. These don't get filed away neatly. They get flagged as incomplete. And an incomplete file in the eyes of your nervous system looks a lot like a threat. Not a dangerous threat like a predator, a social threat. Because for most of human history, our survival depended on social belonging. Being rejected by the group wasn't just embarrassing, it was potentially fatal. So your brain evolved to treat social wounds with the same urgency as physical ones. At night, with no external distraction, your brain finally gets to run diagnostics on all those flagged files. It pulls them up one by one, trying to find a resolution, trying to rewrite the ending, trying to make sense of what happened. The tragic irony is, it can't. The past already happened. There is no new information to add. So the loop just repeats and repeats without ever closing. But here's the part that most people miss. It's not really about the specific memory that keeps surfacing. The manager who interrupted you, the text that went unanswered, the party where nobody noticed you, these are just entry points, doorways. What your brain is actually replaying, underneath all of it, is a single core belief. Something like, I wasn't enough in that moment, or I said the wrong thing and that's who I am, or if people really saw me, they would leave. That's why the memories your brain chooses at 3 a.m. often don't make logical sense together. A work meeting, an old text, a childhood birthday party. On the surface, they have nothing in common, but underneath, they're all connected to the exact same emotional wound. Your brain isn't randomly torturing you, it's pattern matching. It keeps returning to different proof points of the same old story it believes about you. This is why simply distracting yourself from the thought rarely works for long. You can turn on a podcast, scroll your phone, get up for water, and the loop pauses for a moment, then returns the next night, or the night after, because you haven't addressed the belief underneath. You've only muted the alarm, not fixed what triggered it. And here's something even more uncomfortable to sit with. People who do this, who replay old conversations obsessively, are very often people who are deeply thoughtful, deeply empathetic, deeply attuned to how others feel. It's not a coincidence. The same sensitivity that makes you replay a moment of rejection is the sensitivity that makes you a person who notices when someone else is hurting, who remembers small details about the people you love, who cares, maybe too much, about getting things right. The nightly replay isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that you care about connection more than you've been given credit for. The tragedy is that this same caring gets weaponized against you every night at 3 a.m. This pattern shows up in different forms. There's the person who ends a relationship and replays the final conversation for months, searching for the exact sentence that could have changed the outcome, even when, rationally, they know the relationship had been over for a long time. There's the person who gave a work presentation, and even though it went fine, even though colleagues complimented them afterward, their brain locks onto the one sentence that came out slightly wrong, replaying it on a loop for days. There's the person, and maybe this is you, who said something a little too honest to a friend years ago, got a slightly cold response, and has never fully let it go. Not because the friendship ended, it didn't, but because in that one moment, an old belief got confirmed. When I show up as myself, people pull away. In every case, the surface story is different, but the underlying mechanism is identical. The brain is not trying to punish you. It's trying, in its own clumsy and outdated way, to protect you from ever feeling that particular flavor of pain again. It just doesn't realize that replaying the moment for the thousandth time isn't protection. It's just reopening the wound. Here's the twist most people never consider. The goal was never to stop the memories from appearing. That's actually the wrong target. Trying to force yourself to just not think about it almost always backfires. Psychologists call this the ironic process theory. The harder you try to suppress a thought, the more power you hand it. The real shift happens when you stop treating the replay as an enemy to defeat and start treating it as information to receive. When the memory surfaces at 3 a.m., instead of fighting it or spiraling deeper into it, the question that actually changes something is this: what is this memory trying to tell me about a belief I'm still carrying? Not, why did I say that? But, what does this keep proving to me about myself? Because once you can name the underlying belief, I think I'm not enough, I think I'm too much, I think people leave, you can finally address the actual source. Not the 1,000 individual memories, which are infinite, just the one belief underneath all of them, which is finite, and which can actually be examined, questioned, and slowly rewritten. This is the difference between people who ruminate for decades and people who eventually find peace with their past. It's not that the peaceful ones have fewer painful memories. It's that at some point, they stopped arguing with the memory itself and started listening to what it was actually pointing toward. So the next time it's 3 a.m. and that old conversation starts playing again, word for word, uninvited, try not to see it as your mind malfunctioning. See it as a part of you, an old and tired part, still trying to keep you safe using tools that no longer fit the world you live in. It's not there to hurt you. It's there because somewhere along the way, you learned that certain moments were dangerous to your sense of belonging. And it hasn't gotten the memo that you survived them. You don't have to win the argument with 3 a.m. You just have to ask it, gently, what it's actually trying to tell you. And maybe, for the first time, actually listen.